All right, joining us in the Movieland Spotlight this month is Kiah Roache-Turner, known from his work directing films such as Wormwood, Sting, and Beast of War. Thank you so much for joining us today. And might I say, mate, you are a genius. I've already been preaching this prior to the interview, but wow.
Don't use the G word so early in the interview, man. You're going to make me blush. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I just see so much potential in your work, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Like, I walked away from Beast of War and ended up watching a couple more of your films back to back, and none of them failed to impress. In fact, they just kept getting better. I just can't wait to see what else you bring to the table, let alone rewatch them. I've already watched Beast of War twice, by the way, and I just couldn't get enough of it. And it's like there's details of that film that I just had to, keep taking in. And like, I can't preach this louder for everyone who hasn't seen it to go see this. Always feel a little unsatisfied like me when I go into shark movies. This one takes a 20-foot cake. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, sir. That, of course, is a reference to the 20-foot shark. That's very clever there. Yeah, look, it's most shark movies are pretty crap. Like let's be honest. There's one masterpiece, and there's a couple of good ones, and then there's a real big drop off. And my thing going into this was like, just don't embarrass yourself. You know what I mean? Just try and make one of the good ones. And yeah, we seem to have done that. It's probably my best reviewed film ever, which was surprising because like it's a pretty commercial premise. But yeah, we all seem to work really well together, and it came out pretty good.
Yeah, unfortunately, it flew under my radar. I didn't even see it coming. The first thing I seen about this film was a poster saying best shark film since Jaws. And I'm like, don't say that. No.
Yeah, I got a lot of hate online for that. And I'm like, I didn't say it. These guys said it. And like, it's like, of course we're going to put it on a poster. But like, they're like, and heaps of people got it wrong because for some reason they read it and they're like, it's not better than Jaws. And I'm like, it doesn't say it's better than Jaws. Nobody would say that. I'm not an idiot. But yeah, somebody said it's the best since. And I'm like, I'll take it, man. I mean, it's a crazy compliment. It may be true. It may not. I can't judge that. But it's a hell of a thing for somebody to say,
Well, it usually quotes like that, I usually clickbait, and that's why I kind of that was piqued my interest a little bit, but I'm like, I don't believe it. But I still like went for it, and I'm glad I went in with an open mind. But like, I think, there's films that are coming out lately where they're mildly entertaining, but your film did things that films should do, which is it captures your attention straight away. It doesn't drag with the story. It just hits the ground running, and it just continuously captures my attention. And this film, as you say, like with shark films, there's like ones where I usually crap on. There's the things with films like, say, tornado films and shark films, which always get your curiosity. It's like, you're going to watch it. You're going to have to watch it because you love those films, but you're most likely going to be disappointed or mildly entertaining. Beast of War is captivating. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And I just got to say, like, the cinematography, the story, the casting, the performance, the score, it's powerful. I love the mix of humor in there. It's absolutely balances everything perfectly.
It was fun to make, and like you've probably seen a couple of my films now, and my tendency is just to throw everything into the pot and just try and put as much into that 95 or 90-minute runtime as I can. Actually, Beast of War and Sting were both actually, I think, 87 minutes. So I'm even less than that. So it's like a small amount of time with a lot of stuff in it, trying to make up for the fact that I don't have a 30 to 40 million sort of, Hollywood budget, and if you're working as an independent filmmaker who's also trying to make like big commercial films, like you kind of have to do that because you're up against Marvel and you're up against Dune and Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve and all these amazing filmmakers who have these huge budgets. And like, if you're going to try and get somebody to go and see like your little action horror film, like it's got to be good. So yeah, I try to put as much in there as I can,
Just calling this film a low budget film, I don't believe it. Like, whatever you did with what you had is amazing. Like, just the lighting alone and the score, like it's so brilliant. So I just got to say, like it's obviously intimidating going into a role where everyone's going to compare it to Jaws, but like I was going to say, what initially inspired you to write this story?
My producer, Blake Northfield, called me up. I made a few films with him now. I made Wormwood Apocalypse and now Beast of War. I work with him a lot. He just called me up and he goes, have you got anything set on water? And I'm like, no, why? And he goes, I've got access to a giant water tank. Can you write something on water? And I'm like, well, yeah, well, that will probably be a shark film. And he's like, yeah, fuck, a shark film. Great, I'll call you in a month, you know? And so then I had to think of a shark film. And obviously, you know, if you're a cinephile and you love movies, everybody's watched Jaws, and the USS Indianapolis speech that Robert Shaw gives is, you know, pretty amazing. And like, that's the shark film I always wanted to see. And nobody really made it.
Yeah,
like in the
true.
style of Spielberg, like just a real like adventure, just old school, like Hitchcockian shark film. You know, I just wanted to see like that story of the sinking of the SS Indianapolis, like, you know, it's kind of directed in that kind of, you know, real genre style, you know, with enough, you know, sort of action and scares and like just real cinematic bravura, you know, kind of style to it, you know. And so I was like, oh, I can't do the USS Indianapolis thing because, you know, Nicolas Cage already made that film, and I don't have $40 million. So I did a bit of Googling and came up with the true story of the HMAS Armidale that went down in 1942, and just read up on that a lot. And I didn't make that story. I was inspired by that story because if you made that story, it would just be very bleak and tragic and full on.
Yeah.
And probably not very fun. It wasn't a fun thing those boys had to go through. And I wanted to make it kind of fun. So I just made up my own kind of version of that. And here we are.
Yeah, I was going to say how much is based on the true story, fact versus fiction, but yes, as you say, it's loosely inspired there, and I tried to do a little bit of Googling. But yeah, no, it's very good, and the story is haunting, and I was aware of the US Indianapolis one, and I do agree they haven't really captivated that story to the full potential it could have been. Even with the Nicolas Cage film, it could be so much more, but this one is the cake.
I didn't even see the Nicolas Cage one. Like I sort of watched a few scenes and, you know, but it just like, they just told the story pretty straight. And I'm just like, oh man, that's a brutal story. Like, dude's just getting eaten for like 97 minutes or 2 hours or whatever it is. And I'm just like, nah, like I want to do something with like, you know, sort of fun, like a little bit of a David Lean feel to it, like an old school war movie that then turns into kind of like almost like a postmodern shark film in a way, because I really wanted it to be just very cinematic and like, you know, just pull out all the stops in terms of what you can do with cameras nowadays and all that. But the way we filmed it was kind of old school in a way too, because I knew we didn't have a lot of money and we had to do it all in studio. And I figured like, if I shoot this the way Coppola shot Bram Stoker's Dracula, like just really hyper stylized and like, you know, very saturated with color and a lot of fog and lighting, and, you know, just really do those old school cinematographer kind of techniques that, you know, were used like 100 years ago in like films like, you know, Sunrise and Nosferatu, like by Murnau. Just use all old school effects and just go crazy, you know, shoot it like a Kurosawa film and that. And, you know, I don't think I've never really seen a shark film shot like that. Most shark films kind of look the same, and this one just doesn't. And so I knew that would be a way for me to stand out in a very oversaturated genre.
But yeah, let's talk that nightmare of a shark of yours. Dive right in the deep end with it. So practical effects is what makes this massive for me. Like CGI sharks lately is what kills most of these films.
Yeah, anytime it breaches the water, it's practical. And anytime you see it in a wide shot underneath the water, it's digital, because like you can't really do a puppet shark underneath. You'd see all the tracks and the wires and the stunt divers and all of that. So yeah, that wasn't really going to be possible. But yeah, I just like, you know, every shark pretty much these days is either digital and like it doesn't really look real because like it doesn't interact with the water. The water displacement looks a bit wrong. The shark always moves too quickly. Like it moves without weight. It's the uncanny valley effect with digital, where it's just like, I don't feel like this thing has weight, you know? Or they're real, you know, like I think they did that in The Reef or like or Open Water, a couple of things where they just like cut in like real footage of sharks, and like that's good. Like that's scary. But it's not horror. Like it's something else. It's like, you know, you want those really keen shots where, you know, the thing, you know, you want to be able to shoot it in slow motion. And that was one thing that Spielberg got really well. Like he did the, you know, just great storyboarding, and his framing's very Hitchcockian, and he just choreographed it like so menacingly. And you can't do that when you're just using snippets of like real shark footage.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I wanted to go back to the Spielberg thing. And so we built a giant shark, and sometimes it looks a bit puppety, sure, but like I prefer the puppety look to the digital look. Like the digital look can be as amazing as you want, but it just doesn't look real. The puppet at least looks like a real solid physical thing that's coming at you. And yeah, for me, it just feels scarier, you know. So we built this like half-ton shark on tracks, and then built this other section of shark that's like this giant submarine that like moves around with a fin on top. And the great thing about that is you're towing like a 1-ton submarine with a fin on the top through the water. So you got all this wake waves like coming off the fin, so you feel the weight of the fin. And then we had this other one where it's like a puppet shark head, where like a stunt diver just gets in there and just like moves the teeth, so it's like chomping towards the actor, and then we sort of cut all those three elements together, and that's the film.
Absolutely amazing. I love the slow motion shots of the shark exploding out of the water. Like you did it a couple of times, and I felt it's not even getting annoying that you're repeating the shot. It was so good.
There were a lot of repeats. It's funny. I read my reviews, like of course you do, and somebody's like, oh, I used a bit too much slow-mo, and I'm like, oh well, yeah, I don't know, like that's just a stylistic choice. Like I like slow-mo, I learned that from Peckinpah, and Kurosawa uses a lot of slow-mo, John Woo, all that stuff. I just like it. It's just an aesthetic style that I like. And then they're like, oh, not enough shark, and I'm like, oh dude, this is an independent film. Like we repeated so many shots. Like there's so many shots that we shot at night that we just printed it up and graded it so that it looks like it's at sunset. Like that fin is from the night scene, and like that thing is from something else. It's like we only had a couple of days to shoot all the shark stuff. We had so much shark footage to shoot. And it's just like, oh man, like we couldn't afford any more shark,
So how did you approach making the shark design? Like was it intimidating going up against Jaws, and who did you work with?
A company called Formation FX in Queensland. We shot the whole thing. We shot most of it up in Queensland, and the first section and a few other bits and pieces in New South Wales. So it was kind of like a co-production between the two states. A guy called Steve Boyle owns Formation FX. Insanely talented guy. Like they work really hard, that company. And, he's done all sorts of films. He's worked with he worked with Weta for like ages ago. He did like a lot of the Spearig brothers films. He did Bait, the Aussie film about sharks in a shopping centre. So he knows all about sharks. And we start off, it looks pretty sharky, and I'm like, oh, let's make it a bit more monstery. And then he goes, well, how about this? And I'm like, maybe more monstery, I really wanted to make it, I want to make it look like this is a shark that's been in a lot of bar fights, And then he just kept pushing it more and more monstery, and eventually he just goes, oh, do you just want zombie shark? And I'm like, I guess I do want zombie shark. So he goes, all right, I'll just give you like just this hideous thing. And so he just gave us a shark that just looks horrific. And that's kind of what I wanted. Like I wanted a monster shark.
He's definitely a monster shark. Like, you've just got those generic sharks that are just sharks, but this one, you can see he's been through some stuff. And, like, it's almost like I expected him to have, like, a knife in his fin as well. Like,
yeah. He's had a few fights with a few propeller blades,
On the second watch, I realized, like, he was plucking dead bodies out the water as well. He's eaten, like, 40 people in the space of a few hours. I'm like, he's got a big belly, this guy.
He's a greedy lady, and it's a woman too. So we not a woman, it's a female shark. It's a because I heard that Spielberg called his shark Bruce after his lawyer, his divorce lawyer, I think, and so everybody kept asking me, oh, what are we going to call the shark, and I was like, oh man, we got to call her Shazza, because she looks like a Shazza, just like a full hardcore lady that's going to beat the crap out of you.
I love that, Shazza the shark. Yeah, well, another thing that captivated me about this film was the that broken sound horn thing, and when it got stuck into the shark, haunting, truly nightmare material right there.
Yeah, I was worried that people weren't going to go with that. Like, it was a pretty big swing. It was completely unrealistic. But yeah, like a guy gets, he's got this broken air raid siren, and like he's hitting it, he's hitting the shark as he's going down, and then it gets lodged in the fin and it drags through the water and makes a screaming sound. And I wanted the shark to make a sound. Like, one of the problems, I was trying to make this like it's a gothic horror, like they're trapped in this kind of fog bank, and out in the darkness is this monster circling them, but it doesn't make a sound. And I was like, no, I need something like that. I need an oral thing that is similar to the yellow barrels in Jaws.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been one of my sound designers who suggested the idea of something lodged in the fin that made a sound. And then we came up with the air raid siren, and I just wanted it to scream like a banshee as it moves through the water. So it could be like a wolf stalking them in the night. And it mostly, I think, succeeded. I mean, it's the dumbest idea ever, but people seem to go
No.
with it.
Oh, I love that. That's one of my favorite parts, like especially when the sound first happens. Not too many spoilers there, but what it reminded me of, I don't know if you're familiar with the Tremors franchise.
Oh, that film, I used to watch that once a year when I was a kid. I must have seen it like 10 times. I love that movie. Kevin Bacon and what's his name?
Fred Ward.
Fred Ward. It's the best team up ever. Like, Lethal Weapon and that are the best two team ups,
Yeah, I'm referring to Tremors 2 when they're trapped in the middle of the night and the graboids are like transforming and they're making that loud noise. It just reminded me of this in Beast of War. I was like, that kind of like being trapped in the middle of the dark and then hearing that noise. It's not the exact same noise or anything like that, but it just reminded me of that moment. And it gave me that same feeling, being trapped in the middle of nowhere and this loud haunting noise. It's just like, oh, it made my skin crawl. So like, congrats on doing that to me again.
I don't think I've seen Tremors 2.
Really?
I think I might have gotten it from, or the concept from Peter Pan. You know how the crocodile bites his hand off and like bites his watch, and so whenever the crocodile's around, he hears the tick 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 tick. Because his hand and the watch is inside the thing's stomach. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Let's steal that.
Tremors 2 actually does the same thing, but the graboid swallows a stereo and it's playing a music. So there's a graboid going around and there's like a song playing. You got to see Tremors 2.
Maybe I have seen that. That sounds very familiar. Yeah, I think maybe I did steal it from there too. No, Tremors was one of my favorites, and just because it's like it's scary and it's quite well directed. Like,
yeah.
Actually, I think I've stolen from Tremors a few times, like just the idea of that guy up in the electrical tower, and he's dead, and like they're like, why is he up there? He's starved to death and doesn't have any water, but he won't come down. You're like, oh, dude, this is so good. It's a very good film.
Yeah. I love when like horror is nicely balanced with humor. Like it's not too stupid, but it is balancing that humor well. Tremors does it well. Beasts of War does it absolutely brilliant. That with the Australian comedy humor in there though, like that's very, hard to do and pull off very well. And you've done it great in this one.
Yeah, that laconic Australian humor is fun to play with in a horror film because they underplay everything, and that's really fun to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. The cast is amazing, led by Mark Coles, but I love his rival in the film, Sam Delish. Yeah, it reminds me of a psycho Sebastian Stan. Like I loved his character.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that vibe, doesn't he? Yeah, he's a very good actor. He nailed the hell out of the audition. He's so dynamic. I was trying to convince him to wear like a big Begbie moustache, but he wouldn't do it. He's like, I've done too many moustaches in other films. I want to go clean shaven. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. But it probably worked in a way because he was more expressive and you kind of related to him more,
Yeah, this movie, like I said, had so many elements of awesome and it hit the ground running. The character development, the rivals, the tension, the multiple enemies. The moment I loved the most was quite kind of towards the end when the planes coming to take him out at the very end, but the sharks also making his air raid silence. It's like both the plane and the shark are like, tailing coming into the middle. That was a great scene.
I like the idea of death from above and death from below. Like you kind of stuffed whichever way you're looking.
Yeah.
I like that they're sandwiched in between.
Sam, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, it was a very fun premise to play with, because, if you don't get it right, it's just 7 guys trapped on a raft, which could be incredibly boring. So we went to a lot of trouble to make sure that it was constantly entertaining and stimulating. It
is constantly like unpredictable. I gotta say, like I was waiting to be bored, and there's not a moment. Like I said, I rewatched it again, and I just had to watch it again to drag people to it. This happened when I actually first seen Deep Blue Sea. Got to get your opinion on that one.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit dated now with the digital, but man, like that for me was the best shark film since Jaws. Like we had to wait for the 90s. Was it late 90s when that came out? I can't remember. But that bit with Sam Jackson where he does that big speech, and you think, oh God, he's doing the hero speech and Sam Jackson's going to come in and he's going to Pulp Fiction on these sharks and we're going to be fine. And then the shark, spoiler alert, the shark just bursts out of the water and just eats him and drags him screaming down into the water. And everybody's like, we're now. Like Sam Jackson just got eaten, like we're left here with Thomas Jane.
people can hate me for saying this, and like Jaws is a great film, but Deep Blue Sea takes the trophy for me as the best shark film of all time. I think mainly because it was the first shark film I seen at the cinema, and I was pretty young when it came out. Like I said, I dragged multiple people to the cinema to see it, and I was preaching to people just so I could go along to see it again. I think I went 3 times to the cinema to see Deep Blue Sea.
There's Deep Blue Sea, that's a good one. They say Dangerous Animals is really good. I'm keen to see that. Another Aussie, great Aussie director did that. Sean, what's his name? Very talented guy. He did The Loved Ones too. The Shallows, I thought was very good. Again, that director, he's very good. He's French, I think. Like The Reef is, it's all right, open water and stuff. Yeah, but there's just not that many great ones. My co-producer made Bait. I thought that was a killer premise. There's just not that many. And that's the thing when somebody says the best shark movie since Jaws, it's like it's kind of not too hard to kind of get inside some of that club. There's only about 5 or 6 or maybe 7 like decent shark films, but there's a million of them. Like they make 20 of them a year. So it's
Yeah, for me, like I say, Jaws is a great film, but it is a slow burn. I think the final third act is the best part of the film, but Deep Blue Sea it's just crazy. I love it so much. But then, like I say, I got to rank this one and with all these other shark films, and Beasts of War, I almost like it more than Jaws. I'm sorry to say. Like, I would watch this over Jaws any day.
I would be even too scared to put that on a poster now. I got so much grief for like putting the other one on the poster. Like, I can't put that on the poster. I get too much crap for it. It's interesting though, because I adore Jaws. Like, it's one of my favorites. Like, it's in my, maybe top 5 sort of horror thriller films of all time. But I showed it to my daughter. She's 19 and she's like, meh, like what's the deal? And I'm like, oh, interesting. Like sometimes things don't cross over, Yeah, because it's made in the 70s, man. And like you have to get ready for a 70s pace. And like you have to be, it's not for everybody.
Yeah. Some of those 70s pace films, even the 80s ones, they do drag out a lot for the first like 2 halves of the film. So you got to be patient with those ones, or have seen them when they came out to be attached to them, I believe. But it depends what kind of movie fan you are.
Love that pacing though. I love it. I just can't, audiences just don't really, it's, I can't get away with that kind of pacing. Like I've just got to go, and just, I make movies for like the ADD generation. So I love sitting down and watching like a good 2.5 hour, like David Lean film. Like I'll watch Lawrence of Arabia, man. I love that stuff. But like none of my friends are going to sit through that. Like, and it's hard to get an audience to commit to that. But then again, if you're a good enough director, you can do it. Like Dune 2 has the same pacing as Lawrence of Arabia. And people love that movie, but secretly, I think 80% of people, when they watch it again, they just fast forward to the good bits.
True. Beast of War. It's one film that separates itself, thank God, from things like Sharknado, which I think are absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand the hype or can stand them. This film takes shark films back seriously, done well with the acting as well, but also has so much more than just a shark film. That's a war film.
Yeah, I don't like when films are just like one thing, like when it's just like it's horror and it's bleak and it's scary, or it's funny and it's dumb and it's stupid and it's action and it's just explosions and one-liners. It's like I like a film that has a bit of everything. It's like that's one of the things I love about, it's a cliche, but I love how Tarantino kind of puts like, his films are comedies, but they're also really hyper melodramatic, kind of dramas, and like they're thrillers and they're musicals and they're kind of everything. Like he just throws everything in there. It's just like this really intense you come out and your ears are ringing from a Tarantino film. Like you want to just jump up and down. You're so excited. I like to try a lot of different things like inside the frame.
Yeah, I completely agree on Tarantino there. And I love curveballs in films. It's gone one way, then goes another. This film, Beast of War, reminds me of Overlord a little bit, the J.J. Abrams film, the war flick. It's all about war, then all of a sudden
that was directed by an Australian. Yeah, like produced by J.J., but God, what's his name? Oh, this is terrible. He's a fellow Australian filmmaker. So J.J. produced it, and an Aussie directed it. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's very good. Julius Avery. Thank you, Google.
Yes.
But yeah, just talk about World War II and zombies. Like I love that stuff, And so like I've done a similar thing where it's like World War II and sharks. And weirdly, I'm just moving towards pre-production, hopefully early next year, on this thing called Dogs of War, which is vaguely in the same world as Beast, but it's just a totally new cast, totally new approach to how we're going to do it, totally new concept. It's set on the Eastern Front in Russia in World War II. And, this one's loosely based on a true story called The Wolf Truce. It actually occurred in World War I, where Germans and Russians were fighting on the Eastern Front. And because they'd been bombing so much and the soldiers had just eaten all the animals, the wolf packs just grew and grew and grew, and they turned into this massive mega pack that attacked the soldiers, and the Russians and the Germans had to stop fighting each other and join forces to fight the wolves. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool story. So I've kind of based, it's mostly just made up stuff, but I've based it on a true thing, like same with Beast. So it's, I'm looking forward to that one too.
Oh, absolutely. Anything you bring to the table now, I'm sold. And the ones I haven't seen yet, I can't wait to check out. So I've got all the faith in you, buddy, and keep up the good work. And you can count on me grabbing the Blu-ray, 4K, heck, even the poster if I can find it of Beast. And of course, endless preaching of anyone wanting to watch an epic shark movie to watch Beast of War.
You've said the nicest things, man. Like, honestly, like just the nicest stuff, man. My ego has grown by about 25% just through this conversation. I thank you very much for that. It's great.
I'm sorry. I said I didn't want to kiss your ass too much, but like you deserve it, buddy. Like you're doing really well, and I can't wait.
Don't stop. I love it.
Yeah. One movie that came out 2 years ago, I was very well of it, and I tried to avoid watching it at all costs. I hate spiders, and I hate arachnophobia. Since I was young, and I can't stand it. It's stuck with me all these years. I did watch Eight-Legged Freaks and loved it, but like I still can't revisit it because I don't like spiders on my mind. But thanks to Beast of War, I had to check out Sting. Now, buddy, I hate you for making this movie, but at the same time, like I'm glad I actually went through it. But I got to say, why a spider movie?
Well, like you, I have arachnophobia, like I've been brought up in Australia, and like, as you know, like we have to deal with, huntsman spiders the size of like dinner plates, and, funnel web spiders that if they bite you, they can literally kill you. And like, I have like a proper horror for spiders, like more than almost anything, I think. Like just the shape of them, they look like little aliens, serial killer aliens, And, so I always had an idea of like making a giant spider movie. I just didn't know what it was going to be. Like ever since I was like probably 14, 15, I was always like a giant spider movie would be great. And I used to watch things like Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, that's great. But like, spiders are like a subsection of that movie. And, then you see, like Harry Potter, and you're like, well, that's kind of jokey. They're horrific and scary. But like, I wanted one spider, like you've got one alien in Alien. I wanted to kind of do my version of a giant spider movie in the style of Alien. And so I was trying to come up with the scariest horror premise I could. Yeah, this was like years ago. Like Sting came out 2 years ago. I think I was thinking about this one. Like what's this giant spider concept going to be? I was maybe trying to work out what that was going to be in 2017, 2018, somewhere like that. I was just like, I had a family. Like I had a daughter. She was like maybe 7 or 8, and we'd had a new baby boy, and like I was going through, like a tough time. It was just pre-COVID, and like the fires had like burned through Australia, and like everybody was really stressed. And then COVID hit, and we were sort of stuck inside. And I was like, yeah, okay, so this is going to be a tiny meteor is going to, smash through the window of like an apartment building and smash into a doll's house, and you see this tiny little alien spider come out of the meteor and crawl around the doll's house, and then a little girl would find the spider and take it into her apartment, and it would grow and grow and grow and then escape. And then cats would go missing, and dogs would go missing, and then people would start to go missing. And, suddenly you realize there's this giant spider in the apartment building eating people. They're kind of trapped inside because there's this insane snowstorm outside. So the apartment building would become like the Nostromo in Alien. And the only person who's going to be able to kill the spider is the girl, because she's already bonded with it, because she's raised it from like this tiny spider into this bigger thing. And so she knows Sting quite well. And, she's going to have to try and keep her family from being eaten. And I'm just like, that's a pretty cool concept. And so I just banged that together real quick. We went through a long development process on that. But the structure always stayed the same. Like pretty much every action beat and the structural beats were always the same. It was really just character development for like, about a year. And then finally we got it financed and we made it. And it's like a different film for me. Like I was really trying to make a film in the style of like a Blumhouse movie, or, Like I just wanted to make it. I wanted to try and make something that looked like a studio film, because a lot of my films are pretty grindhouse and pretty the like Sam Raimi kind of stuff, which I love, but I wanted to sort of prove that I could do a studio film. And so that film, I think it's one of the most beautiful films I've made, just in terms of classic framing and blocking and camera moves. Brad Shield shot that, and he's a wonderful DOP, it's got a great look to it. And I finally got to make my Alien film.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, it's much more than just a spider film. And that's what I was, hesitant to watch it for, is I just don't want to have spiders on my mind. But it's more than that. And it's like, I'd say like the first 20 minutes when the spider's small is when you start getting the creepy crawlies. But once it becomes bigger, that's when it separates from, a spider movie and it becomes a monster/alien film. And I'm glad you said that, because it does feel like Alien. The coon and eggs and like kidnapping people and all of that. It just felt like Alien to me. But like, one thing is, you answered the question I had all my life. Are spiders from space? I completely think they all are. Like, I bring this back to a day I was in primary school. I was in the open, like, oval, like there was not a tree in sight forever, and there was all these spiders falling from the sky, and I was so terrified. They were like all falling all over me, and there was like no trees, nothing. I was sprinting so far. I do like hear that the spiders do travel by air or something. I hear that, but I disagree. I believe that moment they all fell from space. Spiders are aliens.
Yeah, that's horrifying, man. That's my nightmare, because I do know that they do spin these little webs that turn into basically little balloony things, and they fly in the sky. It's just weird creatures. But yeah, that's my nightmare, man. That's horrific. Sorry that happened to you. I couldn't have dealt with that.
Terrifying. But yeah. Filmed in Australia, but with a New York kind of resemblance into the story. Like, where did you actually film this movie, so I can avoid it at all costs in case there is a giant spider living there?
We filmed it in the old ABC studios in Artarmon, so just in Sydney. Again, quite a small budget. I almost wish that we'd gone a little bit more B grade on it. Like we actually ran out of money towards the end, and I had to cut 2 massive set pieces that I feel would have pushed that film even more. It would have been, there were a few set pieces that were just like truly terrifying and disturbing that we had to cut, that we just couldn't afford to shoot. So there's less action and kills in that movie than I would like. The film looked amazing, and the apartment building looked amazing, and like a lot of money kind of went into that. So, that's the trade-off. You got to, if you go too hardcore for looks, then you're going to lose a little bit on bang, and I like to really, it's one of the things I like about Beast of War. To me, the budget and the look of the thing, we basically shot everything that was in the script, or a version of everything that was in the script. With Sting, I had to cut maybe 15% of the script at the end of the day. And so I think, there was less in that I would have liked. But yeah, we were really prioritizing production values over gore. But, you liked it. People seem to like it. So, it's fine. Films turn out the way they need to turn out.
Oh, it turned out amazing. Like I said, I wanted to hate this film. I just wanted to just get it over with. Like because I hate spiders, but I couldn't hate it. Like I love the intro. The intro straight away, just like I thought it was going to be a quick, there's a big spider and scare me and whatever. But like the intro is amazing. It's also the end of the film basically, but with the grandma, with the dementia, the calling multiple pest controls, brilliant. Like absolutely brilliant. I wonder how many pest controls she would have got through on the phone book.
It was funny, actually. I turned in the script originally, and that scene wasn't in it. And, the distributors and the sales agents sort of came back and said, "Can you put a big opening scene with the monster?" And I'm like, "But how?" Because it's like the monster starts off small when it has to grow. And so I was like, "All right, well, I'll see what I can do." And I'd actually written that scene as a proof of concept short, so I was going to shoot that and then try and get the film made. But actually we got the film made without the proof of concept. So I just took that proof of concept and just like literally stapled it onto the front of the film, and that opened the film. And that's why that scene exists. And it's probably one of the better scenes in the film, ironically.
I love the whole thing. Like it is like perfectly cast as well. That's one thing in these independent films. Like or even with like big budget films, like you're going to put a lot of money into the effects, but then go cheap on the cast and not get the right cast. The cast is the main selling point right here. They also need to know their lines. They need to sell it, make me feel emotion, and actually know what they're doing. But great lead in this film. Like she's very young, Alana Brown, is that right? Or Leia?
Lila Brown.
Yeah.
She's still one of the best actors I've ever worked with. And when I worked with her, she was 12. And like,
Right.
you know, she was more talented than some 38, 40, 50-year-old veterans I've worked with. I'm
Yeah.
just like, she was so good. And the camera loved her. Like, it was just so weird. Like, between action and cut, she's just this little girl going, look at my Pokemon. And like, you know, she's just a little girl. And then you go action and suddenly she turns into Nicole Kidman. And I'm like, where did that come from? Like,
Yeah.
shit. And then you like cut and she's like, oh my God, like, have you seen my, you know, like whatever, like, I want to show you my Beyblade, you know? And you're like, oh, okay. But she's like, yeah, amazing. I really like her as a human and just love her as an actor. But actors are important. Like Ryan Coor is one of the best actors we've got in the country. Like in that film, we got Noni Hazelhurst, we got Robin Nevin, like Jermaine Fowler. I would love to work with him as a leading man. Like just the guy who played the Exterminator. Like he's so funny and dramatic and can do like intense and charming and like anything you want. He's got perfect comedy timing and he can do his own stunts. Like he's just a great guy. Like cast is everything.
Absolutely.
Like if you don't cast sick actors, you end up with a B movie. So my movies with bad acting, they're just B movies. But my movies with good acting, you know, you can like elevate a little bit, and that's what you want. You want elevated horror. You want an elevated B movie. Like Alien is just an elevated B movie. It's a B movie made in an A movie style, and like that's what I'm constantly looking for, is to try and make that, because a B movie is like super fun. I don't know why they call it B. Like so many good movies are B movies.
Yeah.
But you know, when they're made with like an A grade kind of sensibility, that's when you get like just gems, you know?
Yeah. One thing I've noticed about your films too is like, I already said that's perfect casting, but like, it's not just the lead, like every single character, like I'm interested in them. Usually like other films, there's like, you know, one, which is they invest all their time in this one character, but every single character, like Beast of War, Sting, each character has personally got their own characteristics that I'm generally interested in and care about. And it's almost a different story on its own. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that. And Beast of War, specifically, each member on that raft was interesting. And I wanted to know more about them. But really applaud your work on that. I'm keen to see what your next nightmare is going to be. You've dived into sharks. You've crawled along with spiders. What's the next monster, buddy?
Well, it is going to be wolves in World War II.
Yeah, the wolves.
You know, so yeah, like it's going to be a film called Dogs of War. And yeah, it's set in just like this dark pine forest, like in, sort of Europe in the 1940s, like, you know, towards the end of the war. And it's got like a mega pack of killer wolves, like a giant alpha that's running around biting people's heads off. It's got Nazis, it's got explosions, it's got, you know, really beautiful Russian snipers. You know, it's got British commandos, like all of the things I loved from, you know, my childhood. I just chucked them all in, you know, and I'm looking forward to that one.
But yeah, here at Movieland, we love recommending movies. Can you give us 6 movies to watch? Old, new, sky's the limit.
Well, my first one is Weapons. Like,
Yes.
I just watched that recently, and like, again, it's a cliche, but everybody's like, you got to watch it, you got to watch it. And like, weirdly, I hate to say this, I'm not really a horror guy. Like, I do that for a living. Like, I don't really want to do that in my spare time. And so usually I'll watch a horror film and it's like homework. I'm like, oh, that was a good shot. I got to remember that. Oh, that sound design's interesting. I got to write down who's the composer. You know what I mean? It's homework. But this one, I loved everything about it from start to finish. I'm just such a massive fan of Zach Cregger. He's so good. I don't know. I like old films too. Like, I don't know if, you know, anybody wants to hear this, but one of my favorite films is an old black and white film shot in the 50s called The Third Man.
Okay.
It's got Orson Welles in it, Joseph Cotton. Robert Krasker, an Australian cinematographer, won an Oscar for it. Like, it looks beautiful. Carol Reed directed it, who's like one of the best British filmmakers of that period. And like the score is like so fun. It's just such a good film. Like I've seen that film probably, like 20, 30 times, and it just gets better and better. See a film called Badlands. That's Terrence Malick's first film. I'm going to bang out a couple of first films, actually. See Badlands, because Terrence Malick is the guy who did Thin Red Line, and Badlands is a perfect film. Like,
Okay.
perfect. It's about a serial killer, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, but like redneck, kind of versions. It's got Sissy Spacek in it. Martin Sheen plays this serial killer who runs around shooting people in the old in the Midwest somewhere. It's just really good. It's just beautifully directed. And for a first film, it's insane. Watch Blood Simple. That's the Coen brothers' first film. Again, like these guys just went out and like just got the money themselves. And like their mate just happened to be a dude called Barry Sonnenfeld, who like went on to direct like The Addams Family and all these amazing films. But yeah, he was a guy shooting porn at the time, and like they got him to shoot their film because he's the only person they knew with a camera. And so it's just shot on 16 millimeter, and like their dad for some reason knew a bunch of dentists, and like they got dentists to just give them money to make this film. And again, it's so good. Like it's a perfect film. These guys raised the money themselves and just bought themselves a film career. Perfect film. To Live and Die in LA is a sick film by William Friedkin. Like he did like The French Connection and The Exorcist, but like not many people have seen To Live and Die in LA. That is a cracking film. Man, like again, this is a cliche to some people maybe, but like if you don't know much about foreign films, go and watch a film called Old Boy.
Okay.
It's a Korean film. And it's about an insane dude who gets like locked in an apartment for like 10 years or something. And he doesn't even know why. Like he just gets taken off the streets. Like he's really drunk and he gets taken off the streets and he's just locked in an apartment. And he doesn't know why. And like in the end, he has to go and find who did this to him, who took him away from his life for 10 years. And it's all about vengeance. And like this guy goes slowly mad in an apartment building over like a period of years. And he teaches himself kung fu. It's insane. And then by the time he gets out of the apartment, he's ready to kick ass. And he just goes on like a rampage to find who did this to him and like wreak revenge on this person. And the ending is insane. You find out who did it and you're like, whoa, okay, I did not expect that. I did not expect that twist. And there's a scene where he takes on like 50 guys with a hammer. And it's just all one long shot. He goes up and down this corridor and then up a ramp and then down another corridor and then across. And then like it's all a side shot like this. So it's like tracking left to right as he just beats the shit out of 50 dudes with one hammer. And it's all just one long shot. And I don't know how they choreographed it. I hope that hammer was, rubber. But man, he just beats the crap out of him. And it's like one of the most amazing pieces of cinema I've seen. And it's truly a wonderful film. The Koreans are doing just some of the best work like in the last 20 years in cinema. And it irritates me that people who don't like reading subtitles are missing out on some of the best cinema out there,
I completely agree. There's a lot of things on that list there that I'm interested in seeing, especially that last one you just said. And I completely agree. A lot of great foreign films, and Weapons is the only one on that list that I actually seen and completely agree. It is absolute mind blowing. One of my favorite films of the year, next to yours. And Sinners, by the way, is another great one for this year. Bring It Back, another Australian film, which is great.
Sinners is so well directed. It's beautiful. Yeah, Bring It Back. I haven't watched yet. I watched Talk to Me, and like it was so well directed, but it was like so dark.
Yeah,
and I've been like I like Weapons because like it's kind of fun. And Talk to Me, I love. Don't get me wrong. Like man, those guys, they are so good. Like they are just probably the best horror directors in this country right now. Like unquestionably. But I have to get ready to watch one of their films, because like I know I'm about to be traumatized, Whereas there's something fun about Weapons. Like even when I don't want to do spoilers and stuff, but when the kids are running around, the kids, they break free and you're like, yeah, get that bitch, like there's just fun stuff in it. And it's funny enough and interesting and weird enough, like that I wasn't too traumatized by it. But yeah, like I don't really like trauma horror. So I struggle a bit. The Talk to Me is, even though the filmmaking is just so good. Talk to Me, my daughter was saying like that's her favorite Australian horror film. And I'm just there going, but your dad's like an Australian horror film. She's like, your films are okay. Like they're okay. Talk to Me. Like that's a film. I'm like, God damn it. No, I mean, like, I get it. I'm like, I've seen Talk to Me. I'm like, I couldn't do that. It's so good.
Yeah, I agree. Talk to Me is very shocking, and I think they always go for the shock value. And Bring It Back, strap yourself in. Yes, it is shocking as well. It's very unsettling. There's a few moments in that film that was sticking in your head for long after the credits.
Even the trailer scared the crap out of me, and Stephen King came out and said that film was sick, so it must be. The funny thing about those guys, the Philippou brothers, is like, you've seen their YouTube channel when they're doing those like it's like Harry Potter shorts and like, the little short YouTube clips where like Thor fights, I don't know, Harry Potter or whatever it is. Like they're so fun. And they get like 1 billion hits. So these guys can do insanely silly, like comedy, like action comedy, or they can do insanely serious, like very layered, very cinematically layered, like horror. And like, it's very rare to get filmmakers that can pivot like stylistically and tonally like that. So the fact that they can do those two things, I'm really looking forward to them doing like maybe a horror film that's also fun. You know what I mean? Like I think they're being chased to do Street Fighter or something. Like they would do such a good Street Fighter movie. Like I think they're going to have a long, really exciting career. I think they're just going to, they're going to make some pretty amazing films, those guys.
All right. Lastly, buddy, just before we wrap up, I just got to say, can I buy you a drink?
You can buy me a iced chocolate. I don't drink. So I actually gave up drinking. When did I give up drinking? Man, 8 years ago, bro. So I'm 46 years old. So like when I was like 38, I was like, okay, I've done enough drinking for 2 lifetimes because I'm an Aussie filmmaker. That's all we do is drink. And like I just went, I'm about to have a little baby, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the second half, sober. And I have to say, I have less fun, considerably less fun. But like, man, my productivity went through the roof. So I work heaps faster, and I think my script's improved because I've got more clarity. But man, I miss a good cold beer on a Sunday afternoon. Like sometimes I'm just like, oh, what a terrible decision. But yeah, so you can buy me a drink, but it's probably going to be soda.
All right, so you owe me a drink then.
Yeah, that's right. That's a Beast of War reference. I just realized what you were doing. You didn't want a serious answer.
No, I didn't.
How funny.
Anything but Foster's. I'd rather drink my own piss than drink Foster's.
Yeah, that's what you were looking for. Yeah, you can buy me a drink, but make sure it's fucking VB, bro. Because if you buy me Foster's, we're gonna have a problem.
I'm a West End draft guy. I don't know if you've ever tried the Adelaide drink, but yeah, me too. I don't drink too much anymore. I'm late in my 30s now. So, but yeah, just wanted to play some fun there because I love Beast of War. It's going to stick with me, especially that reference. I'm good for it, buddy. So we'll get the next one.
Do you know what's a really good beer? Have you ever had really ice cold Kilkenny?
No.
It's like it's like a thick Irish beer. And, like the head on it almost tastes like cream. And it's like, oh man, like that's the one that I think about on those like warm Sunday afternoons. I'm like, oh, I could murder a Kilkenny right now. Such a good beer.
Oh, maybe one day in the future. But anyway, buddy, I got to say congratulations again on Beasts of War. I know it's still at the cinemas at the moment. Check it out and enjoy one of the best shark movies since Jaws. And I put that in bold lettering.
Thank you, Adams. Thank you very much. Again, you've made me blush again.
And the kids will never know.